So over the last year, I've heard sentiments from people around the fact that they feel that they missed a grand opportunity to make wealth over the last 2 to 4 years. This was, of course, because we saw a huge spike in terms of market performance. Equity markets were rising, and some people made quite a significant amount of wealth. This was on the back of quantitative easing and market intervention policies that were executed by major central banks around the world to curb the effects of the pandemic. And what this means is when you have a lot of liquidity in the system, investments tend to go up. As investments go up, it means that you have more dollars or more pounds or more capital chasing the same amount of assets. And as that happens, prices start to rise. In recent times, we've seen quite a lot of volatility to the downside because of everything going on across the world. I needn't mention the list, you're already aware. The good news, of course, is that herein lies an opportunity for you to really start your investment journey and start to create wealth of your own. And also remember that it's never too late to start investing to create the lifestyle and the wealth profile that you desire. So if you are one of those people who feels like they missed the last train, well, worry not. So in this video, I'm going to share 9 key points to bear in mind as you start or perhaps continue your investment journey to ensure that you are successful and you are safe whilst doing so. Hi, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Jumoke and I work as an investment banker. I'm also a chartered financial analyst. The first point is to essentially set your investment goals. Everyone has different reasons for investing. For some people, that's because they want a flexibility around their lifestyle. For others, they want to leave a legacy perhaps for their children and generations after. For some, they want autonomy and they want to be able to focus on the things that they care more about and have a pool of assets or capital working for them and essentially sweating those assets to ensure that those assets fund their lifestyle. First thing you want to think about is why you're investing, and number 2, what you hope to achieve from investing. You also want to think about things like what your investment horizon is. Are you a long-term investor or medium-term investor? A long-term investor would be someone who has what we call patient capital, which means that you're very happy to have your capital work over time and you're not really looking for perhaps capital appreciation or returns in the short term. Whereas a short to medium-term investor would be someone who's maybe looking at an investment horizon of between 0 to 7 years. So which of those appeals more to you? Because your investment objectives and goals will ultimately determine how your portfolio is set up and how you asset allocate. The second thing is to understand investment risk and understand your risk profile. There is no investment without risk. That could be interest rate risk, market risk, political risk, legal risk. Even cash has risk of its own. If you left your money in a bank or in a current account, you're exposed to entity risk, because if that bank was to go under, you could lose pretty much all of your monies. And the protection you get as a consumer or a customer at the bank really depends on what your jurisdictional policies are. So in the UK, for example, we have what we call the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, which is a scheme that covers you up to £85,000 in terms of your cash in the bank. So if you had £500,000, for example, in a bank and the bank was to go under, unfortunately, you only get £85,000 of the entire amount. So you see, there is some protection, but it's not absolute. Of course, some asset classes have higher risk than others. For example, bonds are typically seen to have less investment risk than equities. Bonds that are rated highly are pretty much collateralized, which means that they have a backing of an asset or a pool of funds that covers that obligation. Whereas with equities, you're pretty much buying into the risk of a company and there is no indemnity if the company was to go under. If the company was to go under, bondholders would be paid first and whatever is left over would be passed on to equity holders or mezzanine holders. I don't want to get too complicated, but the bottom line is it's very important to understand investment risk and understand what your risk profile is. Some investors deem themselves to be low risk investors, others might be medium risk investors, and others might be high risk investors. And most investment houses will determine this by using what we call a risk questionnaire, which is essentially a bunch of questions to help you understand where on the risk scale you might be situated. Different providers have different risk profiling. Some might have 3 risk profiles, which is medium, low, and high risk. Others might have up to 5. It really depends on what your service provider or what your investment manager uses in terms of risk profiling. Number 3 is to start small. If you're investing for the first time, it is always recommended that you start with an amount that you wouldn't miss if everything went wrong. It is never advisable to plow in all of your life savings into one investment because, like I said before, investments are not without risk. There is a possibility that you could lose everything. On the flip side of that, there is also a possibility that you could change your life in the blink of an eye if things go well. But as we saw with cryptocurrency and the rise and the wave of investors within the cryptocurrency ecosystem, a lot of people lost their monies, and that's because they plowed in a lot of investments, they plowed in a huge amount of their savings, and unfortunately cryptocurrencies are extremely volatile, which meant that they invested when markets were rising, and when markets crashed they sold out, which meant that they lost significant amount of their capital. So think about starting small, and when you understand the markets better, when you understand investments better, you can scale up your investments and your capital over time. Now, if there's one takeaway from this video, is whatever you do, ensure that you are diversifying your portfolio. Diversification is a key tenet of investing. And what do I mean by diversification? We have various asset classes in terms of the investment spectrum. You could be invested in equities, in bonds, in private businesses, in real estate, in alternatives, in commodities, in cryptocurrencies. You could be invested in a vast array of assets, and diversifying is where you essentially spread your capital over several asset classes, so you're not 100% invested in bonds or 100% invested in equities. The main essence of diversification is to reduce the overall risk of your portfolio. For example, historically we've seen that bonds tend to move in a different or opposite direction to equities because bonds, higher rated bonds, are seen as safe haven assets. They are typically investments that most investors tend to pivot into when there is a recession in the world or when the financial markets are in crises. So what you tend to see in a stressed market scenario is that bonds tend to rise whereas equities fall. The next point is to think about investing on a long-term basis. Now, I wouldn't mind overnight success, I wouldn't mind overnight wealth, I don't know about you, but the art of investment calls for patience. Warren Buffett is one of the world's most famous investors, and he takes a long-term approach. He once said, if you're unwilling to hold an asset for 10 years, you shouldn't even think about holding it for 10 minutes. And the message behind that is that you've got to have patience. In the short term, we tend to see a lot of fluctuations and volatility in assets and markets, but what we've seen over the longer term, over 20, 50, 100 years, is an upward trend. So if you decided to be a short-term investor or a day trader, for example, that is a huge amount of risk you're taking because markets are unpredictable on a day-to-day basis. But if you are patient enough to see your investments through, what you find is that over a long-term period, your investments tend to rise in value. Point number 6 is to take advantage of tax-advantaged accounts. So for example, your pension account in the UK or your Roth IRA account in the US, some of those accounts allow for lower taxation or no taxation at all if you come to withdraw the funds from them. It depends on your jurisdiction, of course. You should please check out, what is relevant to you. But in the UK, for example, you might have pension accounts where if you invest in your pension account, when you come to withdraw the funds, they are tax-free. In the UK, we have things like ISA accounts or SIP accounts. SIP is self-invested pension plan, which is where you essentially manage your own pension plan. People aren't always necessarily aware of these tax-advantaged accounts. So before you start investing, it's a great idea to look into these to see what is relevant to you within your jurisdiction before you start your investment journey. The next point is to do your research and due diligence before you invest. I cannot tell you how many horror stories I've heard over time about people who were given these hot tips or, these amazing investment ideas by their friends, their very lovely and well-wishing family members, and it turns out to be a complete bust. Please always conduct some research of your own when you hear about investments. Of course, not everyone has the time or perhaps the expertise to conduct in-depth research, but at least have an idea of what the company does, for example, what markets it's in. Is it a new company? Is it a long-standing company? What are its affiliations? What sort of products does it produce? Are these products that will have sustainability? Just little things like that. For example, comparing Coca-Cola, which is a global and long-standing brand, versus a new beverage company company that nobody has heard of. It's important to not just follow the crowd because it's the thing to do. Over the last few weeks, I'm sure you've heard of Silicon Valley Bank going under, and you've heard about Credit Suisse, which is a bank that has over 100 years of history, being taken over by its rival UBS. And this essentially buttresses the point that anything can happen in markets and no investment is without risk. Please don't get carried away by meme stock investing like we saw over the last few years that were pushed higher in pricing by retail investors who were happy to gamble on the stock. The next point is to keep your emotions in check or be emotionally unavailable to your investments when you need to be. Sometimes in markets we see gyrations in asset prices, and this isn't necessarily because there's something fundamentally wrong with the company. It might still be a very healthy company, but the trading or the technicals are based on human emotions, based on fear factor in the market, for example, or based on excitement in the market. This area of finance is called behavioral finance, which is essentially a study as to how investors act or behave based on cognitive biases and emotional biases. I know that it can be quite daunting when you see slight fluctuations in pricing, but because you are a long-term investor and you believe in the fundamental health of the company, it's really nothing to worry about in the short term. If of course the company comes out with very jarring news or news that could potentially lead to financial issues or operating challenges, then of course in circumstances like that, it's very prudent to incorporate that into your investment strategy. But sometimes people get very frightened and spooked by market events and they sell stocks when they really should be holding on, and they buy stocks when they really should be selling or not even touching the stocks. The last point is to seek investment advice or guidance. There are some very good companies out there who are willing to offer financial advice or guidance to new investors or seasoned investors. Consult an investment professional who can go through your own personal profile, personal history, your details, your financial standing and status, and can recommend the best course of action and asset allocation. That service comes with a price tag because these individuals are professionals and this is what they do day in, day out. In the event that you are unable to afford an investment advisor or consultant, pick a mentor or a friend who is very well versed in the investment world, perhaps whose portfolio you aspire to have, or someone you've watched over time who's very knowledgeable about markets and investments, and essentially have that person as your investment guide. Most people are helpful and very willing to share about their investment journeys and how they do things, successfully. Of course, the preferred route would be to go with an investment advisor, but if you're unable to afford it, fear not, there is more than one path to success.